Joining us for our business meeting. It's September 17th, 2024 at 2 p.m. In attendance are Commissioners Matari, Brooks, and Duncan. Would you please join me for a moment of silence? All right. And Ms. Sheridan, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you. Are there changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Public comment. Okay, hearing none. I would take a motion to approve meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes, items 1 through 7.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 8 through 11.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And payables.
I move that we approve payables from September 9 through 13, 2024 in the amount of $1,150,148.97 with no jury panel payments.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you. And item 13 is a public hearing, and this is for proposed fee increases for our solid waste department. And we will start off with our solid waste director, John Phillips.
Thanks, Angela. Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. The Solid Waste Department is in need of raising fees to keep up with operational expenses. This is why we are requesting approval of Solid Waste Fee Resolution 2024-63 to go into effect January 1st, 2025. Please keep in mind that the Solid Waste Department has not had any significant fee or pricing increases since 2010. In fact, in 2020, the last time we had a rate change, nearly all of our disposal prices were lowered. Since 2020, we have experienced a significant increase in operational expenses due to rapid inflation. Angela Bergeson, the Solid Waste Department's Business and Finance Manager, will be walking us through the newly proposed fees and is able to answer any questions related to these proposed changes. As required, public notice was given pursuant to Idaho Code, and legal did review these procedures. With that, I will turn this over to Angela Bergeson.
Hello, Commissioners. Angela Bergeson, Business and Finance Manager for the record. So I have up on the screen the proposed fee changes according to what we discussed last time we'd met, when I went over the options, and we went with doing the least impact that we could to residential customers in Kootenai County. So the change on the solid waste fee, currently it is $88. It would go to $98, just an increase of $10 per year. So that would still give residents the use of coming to the rural sites, to the transfer station. Whatever waste is collected at curbside is also brought to us without charge to the residents besides that fee. The other main one, so for if the waste is over a certain amount, or if it's commercial, for most commodities, it ends up being, currently at $65. We're proposing it go up to $76.70, which is an 18% increase. And that's the category that most things fall under. The other is for a commercial business, if they have a 1-yard container at their business, for example, right now each yard is $6.50. It would go up to $7.70. The other change that we are proposing, and it's at the bottom here, So for residents, they can currently bring up to 1 ton per load without a charge, and they're only charged if it goes over that 1 ton amount. In this proposal, it would be reduced to 1,000 pounds per load, which is in line with other counties. In fact, it's still a bit more than what's allowed for Bonner County. And that is what most residential vehicles can hold anyway. That or less than that, actually. So those are the main changes as far as the fees. Some of them did stay the same, but otherwise an increase to each of the commodities. Let's see, so we did look at like what that, as far as the change of going from 2 tons free versus half a ton. Sorry, 1 ton versus half a ton, sorry, got tongue-tied, 2,000 pounds versus 1,000 pounds. We looked at that over the course of a month to see what that change would be. And so just to give so for residential customers over the course of, it was a month between July 26th and August 26th. For looking at 1,000 pounds, only, it was just under 5% of residential transactions were over that amount. All the rest, so over 95%, were under that and so still with that change wouldn't be charged. But that's just a brief overview versus, well, like how we discussed it last time. And we would like to hear, are there any comments?
So I'll open up to the board first for questions. Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, and now I'll open it up to the public. Anybody here to testify in favor or against the fee increase? Anyone on the phone to testify in favor or against the solid waste fee increase? Jonathan, anyone on the line? Okay, but nothing on YouTube. Okay. We did receive, the BOCC received one communication today, and I'll just read that into the record. Nathan, he didn't leave his last name, but he said, "Dear Kootenai County Commissioners, I'm writing regarding the proposed increase of the solid waste fees and lowering the free amount allowable to 1,000 pounds per resident a day. This is going to impact the community a lot more than just a few dollars per ton of waste. For example, if the disposal fees are raised, then businesses that use the transfer station daily, like junk removal and landscaping businesses, are going to have to raise their prices for the customers to counter the rise in disposal fees. As a small business owner in the county, I strive to keep low costs, especially for my fixed income elderly clients that are already having a hard time with inflation. By raising the prices, it's going to cause me to raise my prices for them as well. There are plenty of other ways to make money and save at the transfer stations, like charging for disposal of all tires, for an example. My apologies for not being able to attend the meeting this afternoon, as my work schedule does not align with the meeting. I urge you to not increase these fees to county residents. Thank you. Small business owner in Kootenai County." So, did you have anything to address?
Sure. Yes, so we read that over, and of course we appreciate the input, and we recognize it is tough right now. Inflation is a tough thing all around. We're all feeling it, whether as in business practices or in personal life. You know, as being a resident, we're all feeling that. But to respond to this, the main thing is we wouldn't do this if we didn't have to. We looked at our finances, and we are in an enterprise fund. We are funded by our fees. We're not tax-based. And we also have to have a certain amount of money set aside for post-closure of the landfill. That's untouchable. We cannot use that for operations costs. And in looking at the current way that the cost of things right now, if we don't do a change, we're going to go in the red for operations costs within 5 years, meaning that we either have to increase our fees or reduce services.
Okay.
So this was the route that we decided to go, to keep our services the way that they are.
Okay, and then just so I'm clear, I think it was from 2009 to 2019, we were about $93 a year. 2020 to 2025 went down to $88, and now 2025 is going to go up to $98 for personal residents.
Correct. And
Okay.
I have the history of that up here if we want to show that in the record. So yes, 2007 was $91, 2009, 93, and then it went down to 88 in 2020. And then what we're proposing is 98.
Okay.
Then I do have some additional input on Nathan's comment. I do want to thank him for his information. For a clarification, it would not be 1,000 pounds per resident per day. It would be 1,000 pounds per resident per trip. So that would not be limited to per day. Also, moving down, I do want to say that we also strive to keep prices low for everyone in the county. And when you compare even our new rate to the Spokane County disposal cost, we would still be approximately 62% of their cost. So we're still trying to keep this very low for the residents and give them the best deal that we possibly can.
I do have a question, though. Does it save us money to reduce the limit per residential delivery? And the reason I ask is, why not just drive into the transfer station, drop off 800 pounds, drive right out the exit, and go right back into the entrance, and drop off your other 18 or 1,200 pounds?
And you are correct,
Or
Bruce.
800.
People can do that. However, the individuals that are abusing the system are usually commercial entities that bring much larger loads than that.
Yes.
And so currently it's difficult to weed through all of those people. And so some people will do the drive around method.
Mm-hmm.
However, a lot of these loads are people that come in with 6,000 pounds and then claim it's from their house. And so 2,000 pounds the county pays for. We end up subsidizing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult to tell if it's truly from their house. So the 1,000 pound limit, based on the current density of municipal solid waste, is an entire heaped pickup truck of municipal solid waste. I'm not talking rock, I'm talking general garbage. So we would still, and that only weighs about 750 pounds in a pickup for a heaped full-size pickup load. So the 1,000 pounds would cover typical reasonable loads from the public.
Yeah. So what we're really saying here is that if we didn't have a system that was being abused by commercial entities and that they were paying for what, they should be paying for, those rates might actually be lower. We might be looking at lowering the rates.
It's possible.
If more commercial entities were actually paying, because that's the concern, is that they're using these loopholes to reduce the amount they have to pay.
Yes, that's a possibility, but it's difficult to weed through.
I understand.
Who's telling the truth and who's not, yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right, last call for public comment. Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to enter into deliberations.
I move that we enter into deliberations for the proposed solid waste fee increase.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, Bill, thoughts?
It's overdue. I'm glad we have been able to keep it as low as we have for as long as we have. But I don't think it's a drastic increase, so I'm in favor of it.
Okay, Bruce?
I think the big thing that stands out is the fact that when the opportunity exists to actually lower the fees, our solid waste department does that and passes that savings on to the community. And so because of that, and looking at the high inflationary environment that we've had, it seems only appropriate that we trust their judgment on this particular situation and accept their recommendation for the fee increase so that they can remain solvent and have the funds necessary for especially the closing and post operations of these landfills, which I believe by law we actually have to provide. So I'm in agreement that we follow their recommendation with this.
I agree as well. The thing that's not on our agenda is the approval of the resolution 2024-63. and that should be in the motion, and we can ratify that next week. So I'm ready for a motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-63 with the solid waste fee resolution that supersedes 2019-74.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you. All right, item 14, this is lease addendum AAL-2022-1800, and this is a change in use for Harmony Hangars Development LLC. And Ms. Stevenson with the airport, please.
Kim Stevenson with the airport for the record. Lease addendum AAL 2022-1800. Harmony Hangar was originally set up as a commercial use for their hangar lot, and have since changed their plans and is now a private aircraft storage facility, and therefore we are adjusting the lease to reflect that and the rate that is associated with that as well.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the lease addendum AAL-2022-1800, change of use in Harmony Hangar Development LLC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 15, consent to assignment of lease AAL -2004-020A, and this is assigning it to an LLC from parties of Hacker and Gossett. Ms. Stevenson again.
Thank you, Kim Stevenson for the record again. This hangar was originally in the name of two parties, Dan Hacker and Mike Gossett, and they are assigning the lease to the Hacker and Gossett LLC to match the personal property on the land.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the assignment of lease AAL-2004-020A assigned to LLC Dan Hacker and Mike Gossett.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Item 16, thank you, Kim. Item 16, Blackwell Island Marina Lease Agreement, YC21. And this is with Hagadone Hospitality Corporation and Parks and Waterways. Mr. Snyder, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Nick Snyder for the record. Yes, before you is the Department's annual boathouse lease renewal with Blackwell Island Marina in the amount of $8,415, and that lease will be paid using boater fees. No general fund tax dollars, will be used.
All right, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the Blackwell Island Marina Lease Agreement, YC21, in the amount of $8,425.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 17. This is an agreement with Northern States Security and our Parks and Waterways, and Director Snyder again.
Nick Snyder again for the record. Before you is a contract renewal for your consideration with Northern States Security, which is necessary to open and close the gates after hours at Fernand Park. That cost will be $240 per month, November through March, and then $330 a month, April through October.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the Northern States Security Agreement with Parks and Waterways.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you. All right, items 18, 19, and 20 likely can be handled together, and this is for juvenile probation. These are all contract renewals with Jackson Lanterman, the Chaplain, Amelia Kirk, Mentor Program, and Ron Frantzich, an alternative to suspension program. Is there a juvenile probation representative on the line? Okay. I don't hear anybody. Are you both of you comfortable with handling these without a representative?
Yes.
Okay, these are typical contracts that we sign every year with these individuals, and I think they're doing a fine job. So, motion?
I move that we approve contract renewals for Jackson Lanterman, the Chaplain program, Amelia Kirk, the Mentor program, and Ron Frantzich, Alternative to Suspension program.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 21, this is board approval request. This is for the purchase of a refurbished X-ray imaging system in our specialty court. Carlene, are you on the line, or any representative from district court?
Hi, this is Samantha Wallace, Deputy Trial Court Administrator for the record. I'm here to represent Carlene.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so we are seeking approval to utilize funds that were previously approved in this budget cycle in the amount of $17,500 to purchase a refurbished X-ray security machine. This would replace the machine that is currently in the upstairs of the Justice Building. We received an invoice back that was in the amount of $18,500, which was $1,000 more than we were counting on. But we ended up saving $1,000 from a separate invoice for machine maintenance. So we would just utilize the extra $1,000 that we saved there and transfer it over to the $17,500.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request to purchase a refurbished X-ray imaging system with the specialty court.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, can we handle 22 through 25 together, or you want to handle them separate together?
I think they can all go together.
Okay.
They're
So-
essentially the same.
Items 22 through 25 are board approval requests. They're all cancellations of subscriptions and a memorandum of understanding with our public defense office and their different vendors, because as of October 1, they will now be state employees. So, Ms. Kaiser, would you walk us through real quick?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I can tell you what each of these contracts were for. The first one, which is the PS Technologies, was for case management services. And again, we won't be using these services any longer after September 30th. So these are just termination of the contracts. The second one, the West Proflex, is our Westlaw subscription for reviewing law cases and reference materials. The third one, the TransUnion risk, that one is investigator search tool. We will not be using that any longer through the county. And then the last one was an MOU we had for qualified, capital qualified representation for an indigent case in Nez Perce County, which needed to be terminated. With public defense transferring to the state, we won't be needing any of these any longer.
Okay. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the cancellation of subscriptions with the Public Defender's Office for LegalServer and Professional Services Agreement, PS Technologies, Inc., with West Proflex and Thomson Reuters, with TLOxp Online, TransUnion Risk and Alternative Data Solutions, Inc., and cancellation of Memorandum of Understanding for Capital Qualified Representation with Nez Perce County.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, item 26, board approval request. This is for a 2025 KTM 450 dirt bike from Title III funds and our Sheriff's Department. Sergeant Ryan Miller, are you on the line?
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Sergeant Ryan Miller for the record. Yes, this is the second purchase in a couple weeks that I'm asking for a dirt bike. The last one was a 2024. That's the last 2024 they had in stock. We were waiting for the 2025 to show up. That's this one. It is $1,000 more, but they didn't have any more 2024s available. So we're asking for a big chunk of this to come from the remainder of the Title III that we had. That's a total of $9,109. And then the excess is $2,745, and that's going to come from Forest Service Co-op, and that was already approved by their captain, Matt Sheriff.
All right, questions, motion?
It's a nice dirt bike. I move that we approve the request.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. We approve the purchase request for the 2025 KTM 450 dirt bike using Title III funds in the Sheriff's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. I was surprised he didn't ask to ride it. But if he gets a ride, I get a ride, Sergeant.
We can arrange that.
Me?
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. All right, item 27, this is the 24-25 School Resource Officer Agreement with Kootenai Joint School District and our Sheriff Patrol Division. Captain Smart, please.
Commissioners, Kevin Smart for the record. This is our annual contract MOU agreement with the Kootenai School District to provide a school resource officer in Harrison.
Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the 2024-2025 SRO agreement with the Kootenai Joint School District and the Sheriff's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 28, 2024 Silverwood Scarywood overtime detail with Silverwood Theme Park for our Sheriff's Patrol Division. Captain Smart again.
Commissioners, an agreement with Silverwood to provide reimbursed overtime security up there for their event that lasts, I think, through the middle of November.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the 2024 Silverwood Scarywood overtime detail with Silverwood Theme Park and the Sheriff's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you. All right, item 29, board approval request, and this is to shift current funds into a capital account, and it's request to purchase trailer and Randox machine with our coroner's office, and it looks like we have Deputy Zeb, and we've got Chief Deputy Coroner Lynn Acevedo.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Lynn Acevedo for the record, Zeb Dunn for the record. We're just here to answer potential questions.
Okay, and I know that Dr. Duke did look, and there weren't any trailers countywide that any departments had to fit your needs. And then also the Randox machine, I think we've talked 3 or 4 times about over this past year on what a benefit it would be to our law enforcement agencies. So any questions on those 2 items?
No.
Commissioners, Brandy Falcon for the record. We just need to know the dollar amount that's being approved and where it's coming from in the B budget.
Okay. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it would be there's 2 line items or just the one?
I think it would be 2 line items.
Is it from this email?
Yeah, it should be.
Account 8205 and 8117.
Thank you.
Okay, and then just the total dollar amount that will be transferred.
All right, let me see what that is.
It's just they don't want an open-ended approval that makes
Correct.
things difficult.
Yeah, the actual invoice, okay, so it's about $55,000. We don't have an invoice right now for the Randox machine, but it's $55,000 for the Randox machine, and we do have an invoice for the
It's like 9,000.
trailer, but it's not in my packet. It's weird.
Right around 9,000.
Yeah, so I would say another 10,000, under that for the trailer.
Okay, so it sounds like 65,000 total.
Yeah, from those 2 accounts.
Okay, thank you.
Motion?
I move that we approve the request to shift current funds into capital account for the request to purchase a trailer and Randox machine with the coroner's office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you. All right, item 30, this is purchase of milestone upgrade for $1,106 for the, it'll be from the FY25 budget with Access Unlimited Security, Inc. and our elections. Manager Gray, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Asa Gray for the record. This is a request for board approval to pay Access Unlimited and Security for an upgrade to our milestone software. This is the software that is the back end of our video camera system. It stores the recordings. Well, I should say I'm sure IT has a bigger role in that than just this, but it provides the software for the recording features. This was not a budgeted expense in fiscal year 25 or fiscal year 24 for that matter, and I did not get it before you in time for fiscal year 24, so I'm asking for approval to spend these funds. I do believe that our B budget has room to absorb this in fiscal year 25.
Okay, so no funds in FY24 that we can use?
They're not going to be able to get the... Yeah, they're not going to be able to install it in time for October 1st.
So it'll just come back to fund balance and then come back to you?
Yes.
So. Okay, I guess you'll let us know on that particular line item if things get a little out of hand by second or third quarter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the purchase of the milestone upgrade with Access Unlimited and Security, Inc. in the amount of $1,106 with elections.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 31, board approval request. This is a fiscal year 25 invoice payment for hardware maintenance and software license. It's maintenance and support services agreement in the amount of $33,919.76 with election systems and software. Manager Gray again.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is our annual contract renewal with election systems and software for the hardware and software support and maintenance for our tabulators, our express vote ADA machines, our election reporting system. All of that is included in this, including our DS300 precinct counters that you let us get last fiscal year, this fiscal year, I guess, technically. But this will come out of fiscal year 2025 funds. This was a budgeted expense. It is a little bit higher than last year due to the inclusion of those DS300 counters and the upgraded election reporting management system that we got.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the FY25 invoice payment for hardware maintenance and software license, maintenance and support services agreement in the amount of $33,919.76 with election systems and software in the elections department.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 32. Boy, Asa, you win for the most items on the agenda today. We have a board approval request for the November 5th, 2024 general election ballot order, and it's for per Idaho Code 34-902.
Thank you again, Commissioners. This one I have a little bit more to say on than the last couple items. So before you and included in your packet is our general election ballot order specifically for our precinct polling place printed ballots. We do have 2-page ballots everywhere across the county. There's a couple factors that are the reason for this. One is there are a lot of local ballot questions that we have on the ballot. So we have 3 supplemental levies for school districts and 3 levies for fire districts that are on the ballot at this election. And then we also have a court-ordered water district creation question for one very small area of our county. So all of those questions, in most cases, pushed our ballots to 2 pages. There was also a statute that was pointed out by the Secretary of State's office, that actually was pointed out to their office by a citizen, that there is a section of Idaho Code that requires, in general elections, constitutional amendments and other statewide questions and ballot questions to not appear on the same side of a ballot as candidates. So that also had a hand in pushing us to 2-page ballots. There was a small potential that we could have had a mix of 1- and 2-page ballots throughout our county. It would have required spacing on our ballot to be very condensed. It wouldn't have looked as nice. and we felt it would be more confusing for our poll workers to have a mix in some of their precincts of 1-page and 2-page ballots rather than just a standardized, you're always giving the voter 2 pages. So we decided not to try to squeeze that. So we do have 2-page ballots everywhere, so front and back, and then front or front and back of the second page across the county. We are, of course, anticipating a high turnout in this election. It is a presidential election year, and historically we have had very high turnout. In 2020, I believe the number was around 87% of our registered voters, which I am happy to state that today we crossed 109,000 registered voters in our county. So that is continuing to show our population growth and how many people have moved to our area. We do include our absentee ballot requests as of the time of drafting this, which is September 11th, in our calculations so that we aren't over-ordering for precincts. And we do micro-target these percentages of ballot orders to the precinct based on historical turnout, what's on the ballot in these areas, distance from our office, because should we ever have to run ballots out to a precinct, we never want to be taking them out to Worley. Or any other outer lying area. So we do our best to try to minimize waste, but also keep ourselves from cutting it close. So we have a total ballot order for election day. Our total number of ballots would be 84,505 across all the precincts. And I will mention with that water district creation question, that one ballot style will actually have 3 pages. Now there's only currently a single registered voter in that area. And like I said, this was a court-ordered water district creation question, so there's not a lot of ballots we have to order, just simply enough for if there's any election day registrants. And you will see in a couple weeks when I come back before you with the designation of polling places resolution that court order also required us to create a precinct for the boundaries of this proposed water district. So we have added a precinct to one of our existing polling places, which you'll see reflected on this ballot order as precinct 523. And again, I will come back before you for the designation of that polling place here in a couple weeks. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will also mention that in the week and a half since this was created and submitted, we have added over another 1,000 absentee requests. So we are over 13,500 absentee requests as of today, and our first mail out is this Friday.
Okay, fantastic. Any questions?
Just a comment that what you do is manage an immense logistical challenge. And sometimes I think the complexity of what you're doing is not often noticed by people in general. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Motion? Yes, please.
I move that we approve the request for the November 5, 2024 general election ballot order IC 34-902 with elections.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Item 33. Resolution 2024-64, and this is surplus property asset deletion with our elections department.
Commissioners, this is just a resolution to declare a surplus property and allow us to delete from the county asset list a multifunction printer that was replaced by H&H Business Services, our printer vendor, earlier this year. It was definitely getting past its useful life. It was not functioning the way we needed it to anymore, and so we just would like it removed from the county asset list.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-64 on surplus property with asset deletion of surplus property with the Elections Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, we can handle items 34 and 35 together. It's resolution numbers 2024-65 and 66, and this is classify records and destroy records with our Elections Office.
Commissioners, these resolutions are to allow us to classify and destroy records that have surpassed the required time for retention by Idaho statute. These are election records. They can vary from anything from paper poll books and e-poll book check-in receipts to voted or unvoted ballots, spoiled ballots. There's a variety of different things. You have the entire list. Some of them require 5-year retention, and some of them require 60 days from the deadline to challenge an election retention, but all of them have surpassed the requisite time, and we would like to be able to destroy them and make room for storage for our 2024 November election records.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve resolutions 2024-65 to classify records and resolution 2024-66 to destroy the records.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 36, this is board approval request, and it's for the Justice Center change event number 54, and it's the ShearFlex connector that we spoke about this morning at 10 o'clock with Boughton. And Director Voller, would you like to handle this, or is Mr. Mendez on the phone? Okay, I guess it's you, Jeff.
Commissioners, Jeff Voller for the record. I believe Mr. Mendez has briefed this a couple of different times, but this is a ShearFlex anchor that he had a rough estimate of around $30,000. It came in around 25, so we just need your formal approval for that change order.
Thank you. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request for the Justice Center change event number 54, the ShearFlex connectors with Boughton and the BOCC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Thank you. All right, our last item is item 37, board approval request, and this is a joint notice of termination, and it's for Hayden Area Sewer Board Joint Powers Agreement. And we had been talking, having dissolution talks for the better part of the last year, and this is formal notice to the Hayden Lake Sewer District that the county would like to enter into specific dissolution talks, and we have 180 days before this goes before a judge if we are unable to resolve everything that needs to be resolved in the JPA. Questions?
I'm pretty sure we want to do this.
From everything I've known for the last 6 years here, yes.
That's resounding. Okay. I move that we approve the request for the joint notice of termination with the Hayden Area Sewer Board Joint Powers Agreement and the BOCC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, and public comment? None? Okay, anybody on the line? Anybody on the phone? Public comment? Okay. 2:43, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.